The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. My name is Dave Kanyan. I am your one and only solo podcast host. Are you ready to dumb it down? Alrighty. That sounds optimistic. I like the way you guys are thinking. Let's do it. Let's dumb it down together. It is, like I said, it is Friday, June 15th. I'm in the car. By the way, that was Alex Exum at the top of the show there with the intro. Alex Exum. You can check him out on Facebook at the AJ Experience. Not the AJ Experience. I think he's on Facebook, and he's on Twitter at Alex Exum, I'm pretty sure. And he has a Spreaker podcast called the Exum Experience. The Exum Experience. It's ALEX and EXUM. Alex Exum. Nice guy. Good friend and a great voiceover guy, great intro creator, and he has a very interesting Spreaker podcast he does. You'll also hear him on Spreaker Live on Wednesdays with Rob Greenlee, who is the head of content, the head of a few things at Spreaker. That's my host, my podcast host. So anyway, so there you go. I mostly forget to thank Alex, but he's the great voice at the top of the show. Makes the show sound a little bit more professional with that intro. Believe me, it's not nearly as professional as you might think it sounds. But anyway, so here I am in the car. I'm headed home. It is 8:19 in the morning. This week, I've had some sound issues. So this week, I'm driving with the phone in my hand. Classic podcasting. This is the way I started with Spreaker. But I didn't have a sock. Now I have a sock over the microphone. So for those of you who are new to the show, let me quickly explain the sock. Did I mention this is episode 87? Yes, I did. Well, if I didn't, there you go. Episode 87. Last week, June 7th was episode 86, Lies, Reasons, and Excuses. And I got some good response from that. That was nice. Got some nice responses. And I'm going to talk about one of the responses I got 2 nights ago. So I don't have a title for this show just yet for episode 87. I don't know yet what I'm going to call it. But I've had some good interaction with human beings this week. And I've had some not so good interaction with human beings this week. So I think I'm going to share that with you. Unless I get distracted, I'm going to share. It's just likely to happen. Did I say hello, dum-dums? Hello. See, there we go. I'm just going to start distracting myself. Hello, dum-dums. Welcome to the Dumbcast. It's a Dumbcast in a carcast in a podcast. It could also be a carcast in a Dumbcast in a podcast. I haven't really figured out what is the first of the casts. So I'm doing this in my car. Makes it a carcast. It's called Dumbing It Down with Dave. So, I call it a Dumbcast to differentiate myself from everything else, which is a podcast. And so if you're new to the show, I'm explaining it a little bit. You don't have to go back 86, 87 episodes ago. Believe me, for those of you that are new to the show, do not go back to episode 1. I beg of you. I'm doing you a favor. I'm not even begging of you. Do yourself a favor. Don't go back too early. About episode 20, things get a little bit better. Then episode 40, things like every 20 shows, things get a little bit better and get a little bit more comfortable. So, I don't know what a good ground zero would be for the show, but some of the early shows, woof, man, too long and too much about nothing. So, which is fine. The show can be about nothing, but it's got to be about something while it's being about nothing. And the subtitle for the show is, subtitle? I don't think that's the right word, the right phrase, but it's Pragmatism, Truth, Happiness, and the Search for It All. Pragmatism, Truth, Happiness, and the Search for It All. And I did mention many episodes ago that I was going to focus in on the pragmatism part of my life. Pragmatism in the world. Pragmatism as I see it, being pragmatic. And I'll explain that to you one day why being a pragmatic is very important to me. And I don't think I'm going to do it this show, but it's something that I really need to focus in on more to really differentiate myself from other podcasts that are doing a stream of consciousness type of thing. Because this is not scripted. For those of you that are new to the show, not scripted. I hit the button and I go. And this is what you get. So if you like it, good, you like it. If you don't like it, well, that's okay too. You're allowed to like and not like, and sometimes I'm deserved to be liked, and sometimes I'm deserved to not be liked. So, and it's always great when you comment here on the Spreaker app. I love to hear your opinions of anything. Also, feel free to go to iTunes. I guess I'm supposed to be begging you to go to iTunes. That's the podcast thing. Give me a 5-star review and say something nice on iTunes. It helps me somehow. I don't know how, but it helps me. So, want to help me? Do that. And even better, really, as far as I'm concerned, share the podcast. Share it. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Copy and paste. Retweet. Whatever. I don't have a list. I wasn't trying to say retreat. Retweet it. And, do the thing you do, the social media thing that is supposed to be important. So if you could do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, so what do I need to tell you about? So I had an interesting week. I had an interesting interaction with a human being. Most people would say it was a good interaction, but for me it was mostly interesting because I lack trust. I have a big trust issue. I know that. That's not a secret. I have a trust issue. I've talked about it on the show plenty of times. How do you feel? You trust people? Do you trust them right from the onset? Do you trust your coworkers? Do you work in trucking? Think about that. I don't know. Is it any different in an office? Where do you work? Some of you, I know one of you is self-employed. One of you is retired, and the other one, I don't know where you guys work. A lot of people don't comment. They just listen to the show. They don't participate. So I'd appreciate if you could start participating and engaging, because I know people listen to the show. I see the numbers, but they rather not participate or engage, which is interesting. I find that to be an interesting choice. So anyway, I got a phone call the other day. I'm in the truck. I'm at work, and I get a phone call. So you're not supposed to take phone calls in a truck no more. That's something I'm going to be talking about, if not in this episode, pretty soon. Things have changed for Dave Kanyan. Things have really changed. I'm going to be announcing my retirement pretty soon. It's not what you think, but I got to think about that. But there's going to be an announcement. I'm just going to give you a little teaser. There's going to be a retirement announcement. Maybe next episode. Maybe this episode. Who knows? We'll see how far this goes. So I got a phone call, and I also had a separate interaction with a human on Facebook with somebody who I've known for, I could say 55 years, but it's really been more like 49, 50 years. I don't remember them, this guy, when I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. I remember him from 6 years old. That's my earliest recollection. I've mentioned this on the show before. What's your earliest recollection? When does life start for you in your memory banks? For me, my memory bank started at 6. 6 years old. I remember first grade. I remember some pre-K, kindergarten, pre-K. I remember some of that. But most of my interactions start at first grade, 6th grade, and I can remember certain things, most things. And then there's a part of my life where I start forgetting everything. I don't remember anything. So it's a weird, long-term memory thing, short-term, not so good. So, and that's getting worse and worse every day, or better and better, depending on how you look at it. Maybe I want to forget these things. Maybe it's a good thing that I have long-term memory, but not short-term memory. So I had an interesting interaction that most people would say good, and I had a definitely negative interaction with somebody who I've known for 49 years on Facebook. So I'm going to try to talk to both of them. I'll talk about both of them right now. At the same time, I want to be aware of the time. And there we go. So we're already 8 minutes in. No, that's not bad. 8-9 minutes in to get all the stuff in. For those of you who are new to the show, Mark, my buddy Mark, is always telling me, just get to it. Get to it. Start talking. Get to it. But you know what? The preamble is part of the show. And if I don't do a show every week, then, I got to explain myself to the newbies, because I know I got newbies. That's part of the phone call. So somebody from my job calls me. Let's call him Jeff. Might not be his real name. We'll call him Jeff. So, calls me out of the blue. I'm not supposed to take phone calls, but he doesn't call me very often or at all. So I was kind of surprised. I thought maybe there was a situation. I didn't have my headset ready. And by the way, for those of you that are looking to get me in trouble, not Jeff, but other guys, hey, your employee this is theater of the mind. You can't possibly prove I did or not pick up the phone call while I was at work. It's theater of the mind. I'm telling you a story that may or may not be true. You can't believe everything you hear on the radio or on TV, or everything you see on TV, everything you read in the paper. It's all BS. So this is theater of the mind. Let's say, for instance, I took a phone call from somebody I work with named Jeff. And he started asking me questions about my podcast. Which I thought this was going to be like an emergency call, like a truck driving call. So I didn't have my headset ready. I don't have it ready. Which is something I'm going to talk about, if not this episode, soon. Because things have changed at where I work. And I have to change with the times. I have to. And that started a couple of days ago. But I took a chance because I'm a risk taker, according to the story, which may or may not be true. And he tells me, he's asking me questions. I can't hear him. So it must be very frustrating. He's trying to pay me compliments. He's trying to ask me questions. And I go, what? And I'm answering, like, I can't hear him. I've got him on speakerphone, and I guess he can hear me, but I can't. But I wasn't prepared for the call. So according to this theater of mind, I theoretically apologize. But I wasn't ready for the call. Anybody who knows me knows you got to send me a text. Hey, I'm going to call you. Get ready for the call. So anyway, he's very complimentary, and apparently there's several other people at my job that may or may not be listening to my show and enjoying it all at the same time. Apparently I have 3 new fans, which is nice. It's nice. It's all good. There's a part of me that's like, no, there's no part of me that's happy about it. I got to be honest. Not because of these 3 guys, just because it doesn't matter to me. Like, all right, you like the show, good. You don't need to. You don't need to tell. You don't need to tell me, but he told me. That's nice, right? I should be grateful, right? But I'm not, because I really don't care. Not because of these 3 guys, but just generally, I just don't care. But I was grateful. Thank you very much. I was laughing at first because I thought it was a joke. I thought they were. I don't know what I think. I don't have trust. And once again, not for these 3 guys, not for this guy on the phone, in my life. And I thought about it. So let me get to the it and dumbing it down with Dave. That I thought about it. And for those of you who have been listening to the show, I have an issue with my father. And I blame my father for a lot of things. I think a lot of sons blame their fathers for a lot of things. And I certainly do. And it's certainly an issue for me, my relationship with my father. And after I hung up the call, and maybe I'll get back to the call in a second here, but after I hung up the call, I thought about it, which I do a lot, because now I have no choice but to look out the window for 16 hours a day and think about things with this new thing that they got at my job. No outside communication. Dark side of the moon from the minute I leave my house. Well, not really. I can talk in my car. I just can't talk to anybody at the job. No outside contact. So, unless you want to get fired, if you want to get fired, go ahead and take a chance because, the camera's watching you, Big Brother's watching you. So I thought about it and I said, what is it with me and compliments? Why do I get all squirmy? Like, what's with me? Why can't I just, thank you, Jeff, and, just, hey, man, great. Probably, one of the reasons probably because, then what? Hey, man, thank you, great. All right, I don't know. What are you supposed to say? I don't get a lot of compliments. I don't have a 55-year track record of people complimenting me. It's mostly the opposite of that. Not complimenting me. Not so much insulting, but, just not complimenting. I've heard all different excuses and reasons and lies and all these different things about my podcast or my stand-up comedy or whatever it is I've done. You can tell the reactions. You can tell. And you go, oh, yeah, they didn't like it. I've had all different reactions. But I thought about my father and I go, what's interesting? 55 years now. I mean, the first 10, 15 were probably the most important, but 55 years now, my father isn't exactly full of compliments for me. Recently, he throws me a biscuit, hey, good job, because I do so much for him. So he knows, he's in fear now. He's in fear that he's going to die or he's going to get sick and nobody's going to help him as he gets older. So, he's good at using me. He's not the only one in my family, by the way, but he's one of the few that are using me because I have Google. I have Google in my house. I have a phone. I have access to the outside world. And if you know about my father being deaf at all, it's kind of important that, I do these things for him. I do these favors for him. I'm his ears. I'm his eyes and his ears. I'm his portal to the outside world. So he's not much for compliments. Not when I was younger, especially. You kidding? My handwriting, terrible. My room, sloppy. Everything about me, bad. Bad. And his father, my grandfather, not full of compliments. Really, can you imagine that? A young boy growing up, and you're getting beat up by your dad, and you're getting beat up by your grandfather. And then the other grandfather on my mother's side, he's practically, a mute. He ain't no complimentary, ball of fire either. Well, he's an immigrant, and he wasn't much in the English department. But he would never pat me on the head, pat me on the shoulder. And I know this to some of you, this sounds like wham, wham, wham. But hey, you know what? When you're a little boy growing up, and you don't know what's going on. Everybody's older than you. I was the baby of the family. I was the prince. And everybody is older than me. And nobody is nice. Everybody is a douchebag. Maybe not everybody, but you know what I mean. It's like, and I was the little David. I don't know if some of you might remember, I had a cousin David. So he's older than me. So I'm the youngest of two, my sister, who was an Amazon and 2 years older than me. She could do no wrong. And I was the younger of the two Davids. Something I've talked about in previous episodes, that why did my mother name me David when there was already a David in the family? So now I have to be, take a guess, little David. I'm little David all the time. And I'm also on my mother's side of the family. The other side of the family, they just call me David. So that was a bad move. And there's no compliments coming my way. My father doesn't have my back. Ever. He never has my back. Not at school. Not in the yard. Not at home. Not when I'm at my mother's side of the family. He was gone. So, not a bad guy, not an evil guy, just not what little David needed. Little David needed to know that he was okay. Little David needed validation. And I wasn't getting it from Harold. Harold wasn't going to do it. Harold didn't get it from Bill. So, I tried to break the chain with Kyle. And I try to validate him all the time. I screwed that up a lot too. But I tried. I was aware of the situation. I tried to break the cycle. So anyway, I got a phone call about how much, Jeff, fictitious name, by the way, not his real name, and two other guys at the job, thing one and thing two, it doesn't really matter. 3 guys, apparently listening to my podcast and enjoying it. And I'm having a problem accepting a compliment. Okay, well, he knows that I'm grateful. They know I'm grateful. I'm doing a show about it. I am grateful. But there's a part of me that goes, yeah, I don't care. You know what? Just share the episodes. Tell your friends, post it, repost, comment, participate and engage. But they are. By calling me, by sending their delegate. They sent Jeff to call me, or maybe he did it on his own, to say, hey. And then he's, then I said, thank you very much. And he says, yeah. And then I sent him a text, a little note saying, thank you very much. A follow-up. I'm old school. And he says, just keep on podcasting. So it's good. It's nice. But the insight is, the and dumbing it down with Dave, is that I was a little bit uncomfortable. First, and I'm untrusting. Because I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Which, by the way, if you're an artist, that's going to happen. When you do a good show, you do a bad show, you say something, and, you got to be prepared. You got to have a thick skin. So just because I'm overweight doesn't mean I have a thick skin. I just have to be, and I don't want to talk about it at work. I don't want them knowing. I didn't want them knowing because I thought there's a level of a barrier I need to have, a buffer zone between my personal life and my work life. I don't hang out with any of these people at all. One guy, but I hung out with him prior to this job. We came from another place together. So, and I've never hung out with anybody at any of the jobs I've ever had. That probably goes to trust. I don't know. It also goes to the fact that I'm how do I say this without sounding obnoxious? I'm a huge underachiever. I should not be a truck driver. But I didn't do my homework. And I didn't study. And I didn't do well on tests. And I didn't even finish community college. And I barely graduated high school. So, if it wasn't for my charm. So anyway, so here I am, 55 years old in August, truck driving. So I just don't, I don't, and Jeff and fictitious name. And everybody else that is a truck driver knows that this is one of the most mundane jobs in the world. It's one of the most mundane fields. It's filled with morons, filled with ungrateful, uninsightful, uninspired morons. A lot of nice people, very nice people, hardworking people. There's a lot of good, but I can do better. So I keep a distance. I keep a buffer zone, and I like to have my privacy. I think only once in my life. Oh, this is interesting. I just realized this. Only once in my life have I worked somewhere that's 5 minutes from my house. Every other job I've ever worked at has always been 45 minutes or more. Let me think about that 1 second. Let me go through my resume. Yep, that's absolutely true. Whether I lived in New York or if I lived in upstate New York, I've always had jobs that were at least 45 minutes away. I like to live very far away. I either like to live very far away from where I work, or I like to work very far away from where I live. So there's a trust issue here. So that's it. So that was the positive thing, and it's all good. It's all good now. I mean, it was all good at the time, and it's all good now. So apparently, I have 3 new listeners. I hope they're sharing the episodes. I hope they're commenting. I hope they're going to iTunes and giving me 5-star reviews. Because, that'll change my life, supposedly. That'll help me with iTunes. Who knows and who cares? Are you supposed to do every episode a 5-star review? Or you just give 1 5-star review and you're done? I don't understand the iTunes platform. I've been there on my laptop and it makes a little bit of sense because I got music, but I don't understand it on my phone. I think you download a show on iTunes, you listen to it, and then iTunes takes it away. Like, all right, you want to hear it again? You're going to have to re-download it. I don't understand the platform. I barely understand Stitcher. I don't think I have Google Play anymore because I don't have an Android. I guess you can't have Google Play on an iPhone. I don't know. What else do I have? I have Anchor now. I don't understand Anchor. That's another podcast app. Spreaker seems to be the best one. I totally understand the Spreaker platform. I love the way it looks. And I love the way it acts. I love everything about Spreaker. To me, that's the best way to go. Whether it's on mobile with the app or it's on the desktop, I enjoy the Spreaker app. I love the way it looks. I just think it's intuitive, I guess is the word. iTunes, I have no idea what's going on there. I really can't make heads or tails of what's going on. I don't like it. I know everybody, the whole world loves it, but maybe I don't have the right iTunes. Do I have the wrong iTunes? Do I have like the drugstore grandma bought me iTunes version as opposed to the real solid 100% solid gold edition of iTunes? I don't know what I have. I can't imagine I have anything less. I have an iPhone 6S, so I should have iTunes, right? I don't know. I don't know what I have. I don't like the way it looks. All right, so that was the good one. Thank you, Jeff, fictitious name, and the 2 guys also that are listening. It's nice to hear a compliment. It's amazing that this fictitious name person that I know, I've known him for, if he is in fact a real person, I've known him for probably 5 years. I've been here 5 years. I've known him about 6 years. And he's given me a compliment. I know, and I've done the show for, 2 years now. I know people for 50 years, and they can't say one nice thing to me. They can't say one nice thing to me. Not with my podcast, not when I was doing stand-up, not when I was running half marathons. Can't be supportive at all. Can't click like on Facebook. Can't comment. Can't retweet. Can't share. Can't listen. And they're just filled with excuses, jealousy, and hatred. These are my former friends. These are former friends who I've downgraded to acquaintances. And I think I'm going to, at some point, just really, really cut them off. Just like unfriend them, which seems very immature, but I think that's like the only option. What do I have? What option do I have? Send them a note, cease and desist, being my friend? Make an official, is there a form for that? To defriend you? What are you going to do? Just stop talking to them. It's ridiculous. I feel like a child. I'm going to defriend them. But they're morons, and they're ungrateful. Meanwhile, the support I've given them has been unbelievable. I'm the big torch carrier for everybody. Okay, so that was the positive. That doesn't sound very positive. That was my positive experience. It doesn't sound very positive, but it was. I have to work on trust. Well, I'm in therapy every other week. What am I supposed to do? I've been in therapy for how many years now? So the negative experience is this whole Robert Dinero saying the F word on the Tonys. I posted something about that on Facebook. And basically, in a nutshell, I don't have it with me, but what I posted was that it was unnecessary for him to use the F word. And I'm not easily offended, but I was upset. I was appalled. I think it's disgusting. And I used the word offended. I don't care for the F word. I don't really use it. I have used it. It's not like I'm prudish about it. I have used it. I just don't use it often. I can go days and days and days, maybe weeks. I'll say F word, but I won't actually say it. I don't write it. If I write it, I do F, with asterisk, ampersand or whatever, pound signal, K. I know people that use it way too much. And I think as a society, we've gotten too comfortable with it. And I think the more you use it, the less intelligent you are. How you like that? The more you use it, I think the less intelligent you are. Now, that's going to piss off a lot of people. I don't have a lot of people that listen to the show. But if a lot of people did hear the show, they'd be pissed off. They go, wait a minute. I use it all the time. Yeah, I know. It makes you sound unintelligent. I know somebody that uses the F word every sentence. Every effing blah, blah, blah. Effing I went to the store. Effing person behind the counter gave me an effing problem with my effing pick. Or like, whoa. And he might be listening to the show. I don't know. I doubt it. Because, no, none of my friends listen to the show. And most of my acquaintances don't listen to the show. And I've been on the phone with this guy. I've known him for 10, 15 years. And he's driven in the car with his kid as an infant all the way up to whatever. 6, 7, 8 years old, 10 years old. I don't know. With the F-bomb. It's bad. I think it's bad. It could be just as bad as the N-word. You can overuse it. And you start to sound really dumb. To me, my opinion. So I posted about not liking Robert Dinero on live TV in prime time using the F word. And I supported that by saying, I don't care about his politics. It's okay that he voices his opinion. It's okay that he shows emotion. It's all good. I just don't think he should have said the F-bomb on live primetime TV. So I posted that. And it's so funny, Facebook. It's sad at the same time, but I got 3 reactions. And it was all about, from people that are definitely on the left. And they're talking about, how hypocritical, not me, but just how hypocritical the situation is. Dinero says this, but Trump says that. And just all this, Trump is a pea grabber, he never actually did that. So there's just a lot of political stuff that came out. And I'm trying to speak to this one guy who I've known for 50 years. We used to be like cousins. We used to be really close. And I'm trying to explain to him, and I'm writing things on Facebook, like from the heart. And I'm saying, I'm not talking political. I'm saying primetime television, live, you shouldn't be dropping the F-bomb. And it was more of a commentary for me, my post, about the degradation of society. We used to dress up a lot, in the 50s. In the 60s, we used to have a little decorum. Decorum. D-E-C-O-R-U-M. I'm guessing. Decorum. We used to have a little class. Yeah, we had hippies in the 60s, long hair and beards. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not talking about that. But lately, we've become this, as far as I'm concerned, fairly disgusting society. Oh, only 29 minutes, all right. So we've become this fairly disgusting society in my eyes. With the tattoos, with the piercings. It's all fine. It's a bit much for me now. It was, by the way, a bit much for me when I was 6, and I would see these people going down the street, mostly in Manhattan on the Lower East Side. I didn't see a lot of it in Brooklyn, but mostly, and I would see muscular guys, not girls. Never saw girls with tattoos. Now it's really prevalent. And I know a lot of you are into tats, and it's fine. I get it. Whatever. You're not going to change my mind, and I'm not going to change your mind. But that's just part of it. It's this whole classless, disrespectful, unprofessional, soulless, S-O-U-L, soulless society, impolite, inconsiderate, with no integrity. And you all have to know that, right? You know that's going on. That it's in your daily walk. It's in your daily walk. You see it at the restaurants. You see it at the car dealerships. You see it at the mall. You see it. You see it in the parenting. This horrible parenting that's going on. This the behavior of Americans. I think we've really degraded. We've degenerated. We've devolved. For de-evolved, we've devolved. We've gone backwards. I think it's pretty, it's upsetting to me. And Robert Dinero going on live primetime TV and yelling out the F word. Once again, it's not about his opinion. It's the way he presented himself. And I'm assuming, and I hate when people go, oh, but the kids. But imagine you're middle America. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're left coast. Maybe you're right coast. It doesn't matter. You're sitting there with your kids because you went to see a Broadway show and you kick, oh, mommy, I want to make sure that, Frozen. I want to make sure Shrek. I want to make whatever. I want to see. Well, maybe the kid's into, the boy or the girl, whoever, is into musicals. Let's just say, whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe they just like award shows. Doesn't matter. And here comes Robert Dinero, a classic American actor in the vein of Gary Cooper or Cary Grant or what's his name? The guy with Spencer Tracy. Great American actors. And here comes Robert Dinero. Could you ever imagine Spencer Tracy using the F-bomb live? Or Gary Cooper? Or Tom Hanks? The F-bomb. Really? So I posted about that, and I got into this whole thing with this person I know for over 50 years, and he's not reading what I'm writing. He's only talking political, and I'm bored with political. And my post wasn't political. My post was humane. I'm concerned for humans. That's my concern. And my concern is for the society that we live in, that we become this disrespectful, classless, listless, selfish, just dirty society. And if you don't like the fact that I'm throwing tats and piercings in there, well, I'm sorry about that, but I think that all has something to do with it. That these people are just marking up their bodies, piercing it and marking it up. And I know, I've heard all the reasons. Oh, it's art, blah, 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 whatever. Oh, your body's a blank slate, and I like to, I had a girlfriend, But back in the day, I got it. Here's my feeling on tats. Did you go to war? Were you part of some sort of squadron? Were you part of some incredible thing? And you're definitely damaged by it, because war is damaging. I was in the military for 4 years. I didn't go to war, but it was pretty intense enough. Being in a submarine and all that other stuff, traveling all over the world. It's intense. So these guys that were in World War II, I get it. World War I, I get it. You were part of a bomber squadron. You were part of something. I get it. You all go together in the Philippines or Korea, South Korea, Seoul, wherever, Japan, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. Even stateside, you go to you 5 of you. You made it out alive. You made it out alive, and you got muscles. You should have some muscles. But nowadays, I'm seeing some of the scrawniest, most disgusting looking people marking up their bodies in all different ways. Sorry about that. I think if you don't really have a good reason to have a tattoo, and I'm totally biased. I'm admitting to you I'm biased. If you don't have a good reason for having a tattoo, you shouldn't have a tattoo. You just shouldn't. It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. If you don't have muscles, you're embarrassing yourself. And if you're a girl, well, I got to tell you, I don't think it's very ladylike. But that's me being biased. That's me being an old man. I don't like marked up women. I don't. Not even a small tattoo. No, none of that. My wife has 0 tattoos. And she has just the piercings in her ears. And even that for me that's plenty. But I get it. That's what the younger generation's into. I don't get why, but I get it. There's nothing I can do about it. And I almost don't even want to say it, what I'm saying, because I know how it gets interpreted. Well, what's the matter? Tattoos. You must have things that you... Yeah, I know. I got things that I like that people don't like too. I know. I'm not stopping anybody from doing it. I'm not about to sign a petition to outlaw tattoos. Do what you want. It's your body. I don't care. I just find it horrendous. I find it gross. I find it dirty. I find it disrespectful. I find it all things negative. I just do. It's okay. It is what it is. That's what makes human beings so special. We all have different things. It doesn't really matter. All right, so there's that. Should we take a breather? How many minutes do I have here? 35 minutes. We'll take a breather. Then if I think of something, we'll talk about it. If not, we'll say goodbye. Ready? 3 deep breaths. Take a test. Do a test on your nose. Oh, I'm doing better. Okay, yeah, I haven't had any dairy in a while. Had a couple Slim Jims last night. That's about it. With juice. I've been juicing, trying to lose weight. All right, here we go. 3 deep breaths, all right? Successively deeper if you can each time around, and try to hold it. And the last one, try to make it hurt a little bit. You take a nice deep breath, and you got to exhale through your mouth. I don't remember why. I read it somewhere. It's a good idea. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Deeper as we get on. 1, 2, 3. And then, always hold it. And then the last one, try to make it hurt. Ready? Here we go. It's a breather. Let's take a breather break. Go. I have to make a noise when I exhale, otherwise you don't know I'm exhaling. All right, that's 1. How's that? You feeling okay? Is it okay? Let's take a second one. Ready? Here we go. Really? Nice and deep. Go. You can hear a difference in me, right? This is like 90 days of no dairy and no sugar, no salt, and no caffeine, and it's really a big difference. Juicing. Definitely, I can breathe better. All right, last one. Really deep. Hold it at the top. Make it hurt, and then exhale. It'll be the last one. Here we go. 3. Go. Oh, yeah, that expanded my rib cage a little bit. Woo! How was that for you? That was good for me. All right, that was a breather break sponsored by Air. Anywhere in the world that's Air, it's clean, it's free. You should breathe it. Take the time to take a breather. There you go. That's my unpaid sponsor. All right, what else is there? All right, folks, coming up in the next couple of weeks. By the way, I'm doing a podcast. I'm co-hosting a podcast called Not So Kosher, or The Not So Kosher Podcast with Bex. B-E-X. Bex. Is it Leventhal? I think her name is Leventhal. Doesn't matter. Bex. Look it up on Spreaker. The Not So Kosher Podcast. She interviewed me 2 episodes ago. Last episode was the first of the co-hosting, and she's got another one in the can that she wants me to approve before she publishes it. And so that's it. We're on a run of some sort. I don't know how long it's going to last, but there you go. The Not So Kosher Podcast. You could check me out also on the Alex Exum podcast. What's it like to grow up with deaf parents? Dave spills the beans. I don't know what number it is. It's a recent Alex Exum Experience podcast, also found on Spreaker. Exum, Alex Exum, E-X-U-M, the Exum Experience. So that's a couple of podcast appearances I've made in other people's podcasts. I hope you enjoy it. I like the Alex Exum one's a good one. The Not So Kosher one is also fun, more fun. The Exum one's more serious. In the weeks to come, I'm taking a vacation. I'm going to Coda again. I remember last year I went to Coda Can, short for Canada, Coda Canada in Vancouver. I did a couple of Coda casts. This year I'll be going to Rhode Island, and I'll be doing some Coda casts. I hope to be doing more Coda casts than I did last year. I hope to actually get some Codas to do an interview. Hopefully my microphone situation will be up to snuff, and I'll be able to do some podcasts with guests from Coda Haven. They're calling it Coda Haven, Haven, from Providence, Rhode Island, at the downtown Providence Marriott, which I will not be staying at. I'm staying at a bed and breakfast for $24 a night. How's that? All right, well, that's everything, I think, right? Good news, good interaction, bad interaction, and I'll be announcing my retirement in the next episode or 2 if I remember. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. I want to tell you what's going on with the job, and what's going on in the world of trucking. It's never a trucking show, but these are things I think are interesting to the human ear. It's what's wrong with my industry. Morons running this industry and morons in the government. Everybody's so overly sensitive and moronic. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so maybe we'll talk about that next episode. All right, there you go, folks. Did you enjoy that? All right, that's great. Glad you tuned in. Goodbye. Good luck. Good riddance. Or good day. How about that? Good day, goodbye, good luck, good riddance, Godspeed, good rats, and great skills. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good day.